Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, I'm out at Julius Kleiner Park and I'm sitting in my Chevy Tahoe. I've got the DJI Mini 3 Pro with me today. And I got to thinking, the one thing that I have not demonstrated with this drone is the tracking function. So I think we should remedy that today. So this park has a one-way loop that you can drive around. So I'm going to take the Mini 3, I'm going to launch it, put it up in the air, and we're going to track me in the Tahoe driving around the loop. We'll come back to this spot, and if we still have some battery power left, and I suspect that we will, we'll take a look at some of the other things you can do with FocusTrack. So let's quit messing around. Let's get this bird in the air. Okay, I've got the drone on the ground, turned on and ready to go, but there's a couple of things that we want to do first. I'm going to go into the menu here, clicking on those three dots in the top right hand. Maybe, there we go. Yep, we're in bypass mode just like we want to be. Let's check everything out here. Yeah, 38 meters, return to home altitude is good. On the home point, we're going to change that to hover in place. Okay, we're going to go into advanced safety settings first off, and what I want the drone to do if we lose connection in this case is to hover, because I may not be back at this home point. So I changed it to hover, clicking confirm there. Okay, let's go ahead and take off. Well, let's see, we should start recording first. We're going to shoot in 4K 30, so recording has started. Let's do a takeoff on the app. And there's the little drone in flight right there. And it updated home point, but we're not worried about that. We told it to hover in place if it loses its spot, or excuse me, if it loses connection or has some sort of emergency. We can do a little bit of a droney like we always do here. That's me dropping the gimbal down. I'm trying to hold the camera and fly the drone at the same time, but reverse and up now. Okay, so we've got the drone up there a ways. Let's bring it towards us and look down. And we want it to follow my Tahoe. So let me get back in and we'll get that set up. Okay, so I'm back in the Tahoe. The first thing we're going to do is hit that touch screen and see if it'll recognize the car here. And it did, spotlight mode. We're going to click ActiveTrack and we're going to click Trace and go. So it appears that it's got us. So I'm going to go ahead and take off. Maybe I'll grab a little more altitude here just to be on the safe side, right? Yeah, that's good enough. 31 meters. We should be far enough ahead of anything. And yeah, it's kind of a good day because there's not a lot of folks in the park here. And the drone should follow us. Just for the fun of it, I'm going to kick that camera up a little bit so you can see. Well, maybe not. That might lose it. So I'm going to leave the camera pointed right down at us. And the drone is just dutifully following us in trace mode. So we could also put it in parallel. So let me do that. I'm going to pull over to the side here. And let's see if we can get the drone into parallel mode. So I'm going to stop. And the drone still has us. So we're going to go into ActiveTrack again. And parallel. And obstacle avoidance says you're not going to have it. So that's a good reason to have it, have the drone high up there, right? Because it could run into something. So let's see if we can move the drone to the side of us then. Yeah, so I'm trying to move it around to the side and move it back a little bit. Yeah, so it's got us. Hopefully we don't get lost in it, you know, it doesn't lose us with one of these trees and so forth. So we're going to make a right here, and we'll just go around the whole loop. And this part of it is two-way, but most of this is a one-way loop. And as you can see, this is a good day to try it because there's just not a lot of people in the park here. But, you know, I just want to show you the capabilities of this sub 250 gram mini drone. You know, it almost lost us there in those trees, but it picked us right back up. It's smart enough to anticipate where you might be. So let's see how it does on the roundabout here. And yeah, it stayed right with me. So there we go. I mean, it's nice that the drone is staying to the side. Let me see if I can move it around a little bit. And I can. So we got kind of more to the far side here. Let's this is probably a good place to be where we're at right now, because we're going by the play structure. And then as soon as we get past that, we'll see if we can move it back to the other side of us. So yeah, let's move it around the other side now. And we should be high enough here that we will avoid anything. Okay, I'm stopped right here. There's nobody behind me. I'm going to move it off to the side, and there's a hill here. What you're going to see now is where we're at with the where I've showed you the pickleball courts here that they're building, and where there's a little stage set up there, and a hill there. Stumbling over things while I'm trying to fly the drone at the same time. So you're going to see the pickleball court here, I believe, in just a second, or maybe not, because it's kind of right over the top of us. So yeah, there you can see just the corner of that pickleball court. But it's staying right with us. So pretty cool, the tracking ability of this little drone. And we're going about, I don't know, 14 miles an hour. Right at 14 miles an hour. Let's see if I can twist it around the other way. And I'm just doing that all on the right stick. And you guys have all seen this part of the park before, because I fly here a lot. Yeah, so now it's kind of behind us. It looks like we got a little more distance there, didn't we? But it still got us, so that's a good thing. So we're coming around here almost to where we started at. And I'll pull over where we started, which is coming right up right here. And I'm trying to remember where my exact parking spot was. I think it was this one right here. So there we are. That is ActiveTrack, and yeah, I mean, I thought that was pretty extraordinary. I think it did a great job. So it's still tracking us, and I'm going to show you. So I'm going to move the right stick to the right, and you'll see that basically I can just do an orbit around the vehicle. Well, I don't know. It's kind of moving away then, so I guess that is not exactly right. But you know what? Let's do a point of interest. We can do that real quick. Let's stop. And then it still got us, so I'm going to click on POI. And we're going to click Go. And the drone is just going to do a loop around us. Let's, in fact, let's speed it up just a little. And let's Let's see if we can. Let's see if it'll track us while it's doing that. I think it will. I'm pretty sure it will. I have to start my car back up. My Tahoe has the auto stop, and I forgot that it actually was already in run mode. So when I hit the button, I actually turned it off. So okay, let's keep moving here, and let's see if it'll follow us and circle us while it's following us. We got lots of battery, and it looks like it will. Yeah, it's doing that just fine. Pretty extraordinary piece of technology here, I've got to say. It will continue to do we're the point of interest, and it'll continue to circle around us as we go around the loop here at the park. So that's lots of fun.
Aircraft entered altitude zone.
Yeah, so let's take another right turn here, and we'll complete that loop one more time with the drone continuing to circle around us as it goes. So, you know, I wonder how much it struggles to keep up. I mean, because it looks like it's trying to continue that circle, but however, we're moving, and so, yeah, it lost us just then. So I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to bring the drone forward manually, and I'm going to draw a picture around us again. And we are going to go back into POI, point of interest, and go. So it's got us again. So, you know, that's a potential that it could lose you in trees like that, which it did. And of course, I've got the drone fairly high up there. So, but you saw how easy it was to reacquire. And, you know, maybe again, and it's finding us every time. Yeah, it found us there again. So I was a little concerned about that as we came around there, but not a problem. Let's see if we can speed up that orbit a little bit and see what it does. So I kicked that orbit speed up somewhat. So yeah, that's working. It's in front of us now. Pretty cool piece of technology here. And like I said, this is a good day to do it. There's hardly anybody in the park today, so that worked out pretty good. And you guys are, you're kind of getting a good look at the loop on Julius Kleiner Park. So off we go here. We're probably about halfway around the loop we started. And the other thing I guess that's worth noting is, you know, I'm in my car with the controller now. I do have the sunroof open, but it's control signal wise, it's not having any problems at all. It's got us without any issue. Let's really crank it up here. I'm going to crank that speed way up, and let's see how well it does. Gosh, and it's doing great, isn't it? Look at that. You know, it lost us that one time when we got behind a tree and it didn't pick us back up. But you saw how easy it was for me to reacquire. I just drew the square around the Tahoe again, and there it was. So coming around the corner here, we're almost back at our start point. Yeah. Guys, this is a sub 250 gram drone. It just amazes me. Good on DJI. They have done a tremendous job with the technology on this thing. It just is phenomenal to me. So I'm getting exactly in the middle of the parking spot. And of course, now we're stopped. The drone will just continue to circle around us. And we still have 57% battery. So I'm going to click stop. And we're still in spotlight mode. Let's stop showing the truck there, and let's move out and find something else to put in the middle of spotlight mode. So when we were driving by it, I was trying to tell you that we were kind of driving by the band shell, and I couldn't think of the word for it. I called it the stage, right? Anyway, it's a band shell, kind of famous. My friend Mike Wright, who is an architect, said, who would build a west-facing band shell? Smart man. He knew exactly right. So let's make that our point of interest. And we're just going to leave it in spotlight mode. And so what I can do now is with the controls on the drone, the drone will keep the camera right on that spotlight. And so I don't have to mess around with pointing the camera at all. I know that the drone will keep the camera right on my point of interest, and I can just simply fly the drone. Makes it really easy. So I am all on the right stick right now. Let's move straight over the top of it, and you will see it kind of flip around here as we go. And I had a little small break up on FPV there. Like I said, I have my sunroof open, but yeah, so it stopped when it got to the when we got directly over the top of the band shell there. But let me also show you then what you can do with the left stick. So I'm going to go full left on the left stick, and ooh, it almost lost us there. Yeah. Okay. So basically, I misunderstood what I was doing there. So when you move that left stick, what it's going to do is you can put that point of interest in a different part of the screen. Now I knew that and I misspoke when I did it. So let's go right here. So it's keeping that point of interest, right? But it's on the left-hand side of the screen. Now, when I use the right stick, it will still keep the camera on that, but it'll keep that point of interest in that same part of the screen. So yeah, I mean that's pretty slick technology. So we can back up here, and let's. I wonder how much altitude. We're at 40. Let's see if we can get 50 meters high, 51 meters high. That's about I don't know, 170 feet high or so. So that's up there a ways, and it's still holding that point of interest quite well. Okay, let's center that point of interest up again in the middle of the screen, and I did that with the left stick, and yeah, let's continue moving around here. Let's move it out over the lake, and boy, this endurance battery on this thing, I still have 48% battery. Pretty phenomenal piece of technology here, and we back it up, and it stays there. Let's now I'm holding the stick all the way to the right, and it's just going to kind of do a loop around here. Doing a big loop, and you'll get kind of the big picture. You can see those pickleball courts in progress there in the top right-hand part of the screen. And so now I'm holding the stick, the right stick to the right, but then also up a little bit. So hopefully it'll bring it in closer as it makes that right-hand turn, looping around. So this whole suite that you see at the bottom, ActiveTrack, POI, and Spotlight, are part of what they call the FocusTrack suite on DJI drones. And you get the same thing on the Mavic 3, the Mini 3 Pro, and the Air 2 and the Air 2S. And it is pretty striking technology. So let's get out of, let's see if we can go right into POI, and I think that I can, yeah. And I'm going to click go, and let's go the other direction than we were when we were moving. And this is how you're going to get a perfect orbit around something. You select your POI, and the drone is just going to automatically do that orbit. And I wonder if I can change. Yeah, I can. So I can change where that POI is at, just like I could in spotlight mode. So I can move the POI down to, as you can see it there, I've moved it into the bottom left quadrant of the screen. The drone is still going to do that, that point of interest circle. And we can halfway through, if we wanted to go the other way again, we can just grab that little dot, move it the other direction. And I moved it to max speed the other direction. The drone comes to a stop, and it's not wasting any time moving the other direction. I doubt if it'll let me up. Yeah, so you can. So I'm moving up on the scroll wheel. So there I'm getting that point of interest in the very bottom corner there. So yeah, that's kind of interesting too. And it'll hold that. So just so many things you can do with this. Oh, and it looked like it kind of lost it for a second there. And I don't know if it's because it's in the bottom corner. Look, it's kind of moving that point of interest just a little bit. Okay, let's stop there and let's just take a look around here. Let's just go for a little flight. We're going to get out of that point of interest. Stop right there. Let's get out of that point of interest, and now we've got control of the drone. Again, full control of the drone. Let's get up to kind of the rule of thirds, and let's just go for a little flight here. Let's click her into sport mode. And let's just go clear to the other end. We'll go over the top of the pond here and go out the other side and give you that full big view of Julius Kleiner Park here. And we've done this before, but I think, you know, when you're doing this kind of video and you're showing things focused in, it's always good to get the big picture as well. So this field, I'm wondering what they're doing here. They planted it earlier and they didn't really harvest anything out of it. So I'm wondering if it's going to get developed. That is a Walmart across the street there. No, we are not going to cross that street. You do see some haze on the horizon. There's a lot of, there's some wildfires going on here and there, a few. And even looking at the Boise front, we can kind of barely see the mountains there. Yeah, and it's given me a weak signal, and of course that is has to do with the fact that I'm in, you know, shooting out my sunroof in the car here. I'm going to try one more cool trick here that I always like to do on these sculptures. You guys have seen me do this before. We're going to get right over the top of this guy. I'm going to go into cinema mode and get right over the top of this sculpture. Maybe. I think that's probably as close as I'm going to get. And we are going to circle and go up and then see if we can do a reveal at the same time. So as we circle and go up, I just always think that's a good, kind of a cool effect. And now we're going to start raising that camera slowly to give you the reveal. And slow it down. Yeah, I was going too fast there, so that didn't turn out like I hoped it would. And I was in cinema mode there too, cinema mode. So, okay, let's bring the drone back to us. I'm going to put it back into normal mode. And what I want to point out to you is I told you if we lost signal, I told the drone to hover. I'm going to go ahead and change that right now because I'm back at where I was. So I'm going to go into the safety menu and I'm going to go into advanced safety settings, and I'm going to tell the drone upon signal lost, I'm going to put it back to return to home because I'm close now. You know, before when I was moving around, I would have wanted it to hover because I may not have been at the home point. So we changed that back. But the drone should still return to home for us. We're down to 26% battery. We're much higher than our return to home height. But let's go ahead and hit return to home on the controller right now. And I didn't hold that down long enough. One more time. And yeah, the drone took the command and it's coming back to us here. And we'll see how well it does here. It should land right behind us. I'm going to get out of the truck. It's almost home. Yeah, it's just about above us.
Landing.
I'm looking right into the sun, so it's kind of difficult to see the drone here, but I was trying to get some video of it coming down. And there it is. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'm kind of looking straight up. We're kind of close to the tree, but it's far enough away. There's the little drone. It'll pick up the camera here in a second. There, it picked it up. And you know, obstacle avoidance, it sees us here. And there we go, perfect landing. Okay, let me get everything shut down and we'll do a quick conclusion. Hey, okay, the DJI Mini 3 Pro. What a versatile, high-tech piece of equipment this is. And it always just amazes me that it is a mini drone. The things that you can do with it are just stunning. And we proved that ActiveTrack is a really robust piece of software that's included with this guy. Or I should say FocusTrack, because it is the FocusTrack suite. But we did ActiveTrack with it. So we put it in FocusTrack. We went into ActiveTrack. The drone followed us around the loop in my Tahoe, and I moved it to some different sides. You got to see that. Then we put it in point of interest mode, where it will actually orbit the point of interest. And the drone did that perfectly as well. So then we looked at spotlight mode over at the band shell over there. We showed you how it will keep the camera right on the point of interest. Messing around with the left stick there, I showed you how you could move that point of interest to any part of the screen that you wanted, and the drone would keep that, keep the point of interest in that part of the screen. And then basically you're just piloting the drone with the sticks, and it's going to keep the camera right on it. And then we did, again, at that point, then I put it in that point of interest mode where it circled, and same thing. You could move that point of interest to any quadrant of the screen that you wanted, or right in the center, and it would continue to loop around there. So just a pretty robust piece of technology that has a lot to offer. So we still had some battery left. I never like to waste battery, so we flew out and showed you the big picture of the park. Did the manual corkscrew above the sculpture at the other end of the park, and then brought it home and landed it. So I guess that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I really do appreciate you taking the time to look at this video. And yeah, of course, we'll see you on the next one. Bye now. The DJI Mini 3 Pro, just an amazing little drone. See ya.